Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is going to be the video number 3 in the SAS playlist. So in this video, we are going to cover one of the most important concepts in SAS, and that is by group processing. So we'll start by understanding what by group processing is. Then we'll move to another very important concept, that is first dot and last dot. Okay, so that is a very logical thing you will understand, and it's asked in every interview. So after that, I'll show you how to perform aggregation using the by group with the retain word, and finally we'll look at the practical use case to use this first dot and last dot concepts. Okay, so I hope all of you can already see this SAS free university edition on your screen. Okay, and also one thing to note here, that if you're preparing for your SAS interview or working with real world data, this video is going to be really helpful for all of you. Okay, and we are going to be more practical. So let me start with some of the code. So this is one code which I prepared. Now, so first, let's create a simple data set you can see on your screen, and then we will use through this whole video that particular data set we would be using. Then we'll sort it because by group processing required the data should be sorted. Otherwise, this by will not work. You can see this by statement. Okay, now let me make you bit understand that how whole this code is structured. So I am creating a data set, then I'm taking inputs, customer ID, which is a character, so I'm giving $, then there is a date. Okay, to the date I'm giving a in format. Okay, so format is dd mmyy 10 dot. So you can see dd, this is mm, then this is YYY. Okay, now you will see 10 dot. What is the meaning of 10 dot? So if you see the length of this date, like the end to end, so we'll start from here: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So that's why it's 10 dot. Okay, dot we always use when we are taking in formats. Okay, then we have amount is not basically character, so we are not giving any $. So now using format, I want to show that how I want to present the data. Like the date I want to show in the same format in the form I am taking the input. That's why I am using this format explicitly. So there is a word format. This is the keyword to define format. Okay, you have to call it explicitly, and then you're just giving the format for the date because you want to represent the date in a certain manner. There are so many other formats in formats also there, right? Date 9 and all of that, but let's keep it in this format. And then data line is used to take the input. You can use cards also. So cards and data line both are same thing. Okay, so don't get confused, you can use any of them. These are just used to take the input. Then you're taking the input, then semicolon, run. So this is your data step. Now what I'm doing, Proc Sort. So Proc Sort is used to sort the data, ascending or descending order on the basis of any key. So I'm sorting the data on the basis of customer ID and then date. So primary key is customer ID, then I'm giving on the basis of date. Okay, so data will be sorted. Now if I run this piece of code, you just need to click on this. Okay, run, and you can see the output. Okay, I know this is very important, so please be very careful when I'm explaining this, because these questions are really asked in your interviews. Okay, so customer ID sorted. Okay, 1111, and then 102 102 and 3. Then on the basis of date, you can see the dates, right? It's in a sorted manner. So basically that's how this by variable plays the role, and this is very important to understand that you need to sort the data using the by. Okay, now by group processing means, what does it mean? When I said in the starting, what is a group processing? Okay, so it means that we process the data in group based on a variable, that is your primary key or any other variable like customer ID, for instance, in this case. Okay, once the data is sorted, we will use by statement. Data is sorted, then we use the by statement. So SAS automatically identify where each group starts and where each group end. That's how this whole function works. Okay, very easy to understand. Now let's move on to something else. Now let's talk about first dot and last dot. Okay, so when we use by statement, so first dot and last dots are getting created. These are two temporary variable. Okay, so how we denote that I will show you in a while, but you need to understand that these are the temporary variable which are created by statement. So first dot variable variable can be anything, and then last dot variable. First dot variable is the first occurrence of that particular variable in the whole line. Last dot variable is the first occurrence of the last record. So first dot starts from the top, last dot starts from the bottom. You need to understand that. Now let's try to understand that by using a piece of code. Since we have sorted the data, so this piece of code. So what I'm doing, I'm just creating another data set, which is first_last demo, where I am setting what? Sales, which I just sorted. Set basically appends the data in a blank data set, and then I am sorting by customer ID. Because in this data set, I just want to sort by customer ID. I don't want the date to be sorted. Now, on the basis of this customer ID, I will use first dot and last dot. Okay. So how I'll function that? So like if basically gives the condition, it's a filter. So if first dot customer ID, and you have seen the output, just remember this output. So how many occurrence for each customer ID? So for 101, we have 3 occurrence, 102, 2, and 103 single. It's a unique ID. Okay. Now let's go to the code. Now you will remember 3, 2, 1 occurrence. So first dot customer ID, then first flag, I'm creating a new variable that is equal to 1. Okay. So wherever the first occurrence comes for this particular variable, it will come as 1, the new variable. Else the first with this particular flag, first dot last other than the first dot, it will be 0. Now similarly, if last occurrence of the customer ID, then flag equal to 1. So for those ID where the last occurrence, and then we are setting a flag to 0. So it's basically opposite. Okay. So now you will see wherever the first occurrence of a variable is coming, so it will define that as a 1, and the last occurrence also it will define as a 1, else it will be 0. Then I'm just doing proc print. So now let's select this line and then run this. Now we'll see the output of the print. So you can see the flags are generated. So C01 have 1 because this is the first occurrence of this variable. Then we gave that wherever the last occurrence of the variable, that should be also 1. So the last occurrence of 101 is this. So the last flag is 1. So it basically help you to identify first occurrence and last occurrence. So you can now simply filter those values. Okay. Then you see in 102, you have 2 only. So for first, we have the first underscore flag as 1. In the second one, we have the last underscore flag as 1. Then for this one, both are 1 because this is the only unique occurrence in your data. That's how this whole functionality filter, and this is very much useful in real world scenario because you need to get the customers in such manner, right? There are so many real time situation which works. So here you can clearly see that the first row of each customer has the first flag equal to 1, and the last row also have the flag equal to 1. Okay. Now let's move on to understanding the aggregation using the by group. So basically to perform the aggregation, suppose we want to calculate total sales for each customer. Okay. You can see the data. Okay. Now we'll use the retain step to remove the value across rows, and we will output only when we will reach the last record of the each group. Okay. I hope that makes sense. So because we are using the same data set throughout for this experience. Now let me paste this piece of code. So you can simply see I'm just setting the sales by again customer ID, then retain statement. What I'm doing, I'm putting a seed. So basically the sale will start from 0 and then everything will be added. So basically this retain word sets the total variable to 0. So here it is 0 plus amount. So then you have a number. Now that number becomes total. So it's like a loop. Okay. Then the next amount will be added. So that's how you will see the accumulative sum basically. So retain statement is used to help with the accumulative sum, and that gives you the total sales. What I will do after that, if last dot customer ID, then only output. Okay. So total sales will be ended when the last occurrence of the customer will happen. Now let's run this simple proc print. Now let's run this whole piece of code. We already ran that. So let's select the part only. Okay. Now you can see that on the basis of each customer, you have the sales. Okay, I hope this is very easy for all of you. Now first record for each group, how somebody tells you that you want me to give only the first record each group wise. So for that, how you'll write the code? So simple, data, you will set the sales and then by customer. Always remember, this is one common line. Then if first occurrence, then run and proc print. Only first occurrence, right? Now let's say we only want the first transaction of the each customer. That is again an interview question. So you can see only the first transaction of each customer. That's how first dot last dot is very helpful. Again, you want to see the last transaction of each customer. So for that, you will do last dot. Same code, but last dot. Now let's run this. Okay, now this is, you can see as per the data. I would encourage all of you to write all this code by at your own. Okay, maybe try to copy and try to memorize the syntax and everything. Okay, so before we wrap up, here are some of the common mistakes you should avoid. Not sorting the data before using the by variable. That's very common mistake. Using first dot and last dot incorrectly, incorrect format. Formatting retained during the aggregation part, that's again a mistake. Outputting all rows instead of just the last row. So don't do all these silly mistakes. Okay, now to quickly recap, by group processing help you work with the group data. Okay, and first dot identify the start of the group, last dot identify the last of the group. Retain help you to carry out across all the rows. Once you understand this, you can solve many real world problem in SAS. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Make sure that you spread this video to all your friends. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much guys, all the best.